Well, hello and welcome to another inspiring episode of Changemakers Voices. I'm Vicky Ferrer, your host, joined by my amazing co-host, Maima Jones. I am a personal power and public presence coach, corporate trainer, and a firm believer that real change begins with one courageous voice. And I offer courses that help professionals speak with clarity, lead with confidence, and show up with authentic impact. And I've worked with professionals and women and youth across the Asia, the Middle East, and of course, now in the US. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this: behind every change maker is a story that dared to be told. And this show is about those stories. It's about amplifying voices that spark transformation in families, communities, and beyond. Maima, my dear partner, would you like to greet our viewers?
Hi again, Vicky. Hi, Pat. We are grateful that Pat is here. I am Maima Jones of the Profitable Offer, where we help our clients create impact and income leveraging their irresistible offers. And that's the platform, the stories that we continue to hear, even on change makers, are going to continue causing, hopefully, the ripple effect that we will continue to have, whether it's even in our own personal lives, whether it's in our homes, dealing with our children or family, whether it's in our community, or even in our world. And that is the hope that, yes, will amplify our stories of change here and the impact it continues to make. So thank you for being here. Thanks for being with us. We thank Pat again for her willingness to be here with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Maima. And you know, today we are honored to spotlight a woman whose life journey embodies resilience, service, and transformation. Our guest has dedicated nearly 6 decades to empowering others, starting as a cosmetologist and dressmaker, then stepping into the world of transformational life mastery, grief recovery, and authorship. She studied with global leaders like Mary Morrissey, Bob Proctor, and today she shares her wisdom as a licensed advanced grief recovery specialist, helping people turn grief into growth. Pat lost a daughter in a miscarriage in 1967, her son in 1996, her mother in 2020, and her brother in 2021. Her husband in 2021. It's just a few days after her brother passed away. So painful. And her sister, her loving sister, in 2022. Her best friend of 71 years in 2024, and her brother-in-law in, again, 2024, her sister-in-law in 2025. So now you can imagine how Pat has learned from so many experiences, not only from others, but from herself, and going through all these, death in the family and her loved ones. Please join us in welcoming the incredible Pat Acklie Roth to Changemakers Voices. Pat, we're so thrilled you're here.
Thank you, Vicky and Maya. I
Yeah,
appreciate being here, and I love what you're doing. Anytime we can reach out and help other people, there's so many ways that we can help them.
yes.
I do believe that that's why we were put on this earth, is to help other people.
Mm.
So
And I do
true.
believe too that we go through the trials because
Yes,
we take knowledge from those trials.
Yeah.
And instead of taking it and burying ourselves in that grief, we learn from it and we march forward with it.
Amen.
It
definitely.
might kick us back a little bit, but it's not going to stop us.
Yeah.
We have to keep forward.
Definitely. And today we're going to learn a lot from you. And I'd love to call on my incredible co-host and fellow change maker, Maima Jones. She's a dynamic leader and advocate in her own right. Maima, the virtual stage is yours.
Thank you. Thanks, Vicky. And we're going to have this portion of this interview. I'm going to ask Pat 3 questions. You've heard what she said, and I personally just hearing her saying marching forward. Imagining marching forward. That is such a great image. Starting with that. So I'm going to ask 3 questions, and then Vicky will have 3 questions to ask Pat, and then we're going to close our interview. So we begin with the questions, and thanks again, Pat, for being here. The first question, okay, says, Pat, can you share a story about a client who came to you feeling completely stuck in their grief, and what transformation you witnessed as they worked with you?
Yes, I had a couple.
Okay.
They had lost their daughter 10 years before that. And grief is something that you have to address or you bury it. Once they buried it, it came out in different ways. She cried a lot, and he turned to alcohol. They were not grieving together at all. And too many times when a couple has lost a child and they don't grieve together, they'll end up separating. They didn't separate, but they were on 2 totally different paths. And as I talked to her over my 8-week period, she was able to talk about what was hurting her that she couldn't share with her husband. She didn't feel comfortable with doing it. By the end of those 8 weeks, he was listening, he was participating, and she wasn't crying as much. He had backed off on his alcohol, and she had backed off on her crying. So we get at the root of the point what the whole thing is about, because everything else butterflies out from there. Not only did we help them come to terms with the loss of their child, but I can't help but feel that they were communicating. And I would like to think that that also helped in the communication of their marriage, where they would go forward together, because that is so, so important that they do it together.
Mm. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you, Pat. The part about listening and that listening, taking them to that place where the communication started to become better. And that communication getting better, bringing them again together.
Together.
What a great thing. Because with the turmoil of life, sometimes we have the tendency to, get torn apart, whether it's from our own children or other relatives or friends or even our spouses.
Mm-hmm.
But yet then your story, sharing that listening, helping and communicating, and his showing that evidence that it was not only the alcohol that was going to continue sustaining him. So that's great. Well, thank you.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. Because I think it could only have gotten worse.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, thank you. So then question 2 says, what's one of the most powerful breakthroughs a client has experienced in your program, and how did it change the way they saw themselves or their future?
Mm-hmm. I had a fellow life coach contact me about her mother.
Mhm.
Her mother was 85 years old. I'm going to call her Miss Sally, okay? Well, Miss Sally was 85 years old. She had lost her husband of 63 years. Grief number 1. When he died, she found out he had had a mistress for years. Grief number 2. Then she found out that the condo she was living in, he originally bought it for his mistress. 3. Now, the first thing the doctor did was put her on medicine and diagnosed her as bipolar. And I told the children, don't be so quick to put that label on her because she's had 3 serious things to grieve about. I mean, and none of that loss of trust. What else did he lie about? And she was just a very sweet, I don't doubt that she was a loving wife and mother.
Mm-hmm.
But as we worked along, and she said there was a large picture of him on the wall. And the one week I said, okay, this week I want you to go to that picture and you tell him just what you think. Because so many times when we bury it inside, we're really not dealing with it. I wanted it to come out. The next week she said, guess what I did? She was just very perky and proud of herself. I said, tell me. She said, I want that picture. I said, why'd you do that? And she just gave him the dickens. But you know what? That was a turning point. She found out she had a voice and she had a right to express herself. And by expressing herself, I got goosebumps talking about it, she was able to get that hurt and that pain out. It didn't make it go away, but it helped her understand better. That it was a turning point for her, though. And I was so proud of her. By the end, she sold that condo and moved near her daughter. She put those bad memories behind her and she had a new life. And I'm just so thrilled and happy for her because her life wasn't over.
Yeah.
And too many times when we lose our spouse, it seems like our life is over. What have we got to live for? I know my sister-in-law was that way for 4 years. My brother died 9 days before my husband. And she just sunk into a deep, deep depression for 4 years. But after 4 years, I won't go into the details, but she came back and her kid says, Mom is back. But from that time forward, it was a turning point for her.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
How amazing, how amazing, how amazing.
It's so rewarding.
That is great.
Yeah, thank you.
That is great. I like the part that you said, when you talked about this lady who had these 3 losses, okay? But you got to the part that said she had a voice. And even when you said that part, I saw the smile on your face, showcasing that when she said that to you, there was that living again, having for her to say, yes, I have been and going through, and I'm still living, on this side. So that is wonderful. That is
One
wonderful.
other thing on that I might mention too is that the doctor who diagnosed her with bipolar, my son was bipolar. And as we went along, she said, well, I'm waiting for another low to hit. I said, you're not going to hit another low. I don't believe she was bipolar. I think she was seriously depressed.
Yeah.
And I said, you're not going to have another low. And she did not.
Wow.
So I wanted her off that medicine because it works with your mind. I wanted her to become healthy and strong and be able to move forward.
But that's great. That is great, Pat, because the incredible part of our being on this earth, but just having someone with us who believes in us to say within this particular time of turmoil or maybe disappointments and regrets and depression, I am here. And I would be here so that you don't have to have another, thing to use as a buffer. Take, for example, the medication, but they're helping her to be strengthened, even believing that she can be better than just rely on such medication. That's wonderful.
And so many times when we're in deep grief like that, we forget the strengths that we have.
Yeah.
Oh, it brings out also new strengths that you didn't realize you had before.
Yeah. That's so true. That is so true. That is so true. Well, thank you again, Pat.
You're welcome.
Now, the third question at this portion of our interview we have, you've helped clients through so many different types of loss, death, divorce, even the loss of a pet. can you share a story that highlights how unique yet universal the grief journey can be?
Yeah. I had a referral. A couple were referred to me, and I give a complimentary 1 hour conversation. They could talk about grief or life, whatever they want to talk about. We talked to this couple, and they had lost their daughter. After the conversation, they said, I really like what you've got to say, but we're just not ready. I cannot be a pushy salesperson. My father was in life insurance, and he was very good. He never pushed. And I just told him, I said, you have my information, you have my number. I'm here if you need me. 1 year later, they called and they said, we're ready. They were a wonderful couple to work with. And I send them their information and then their work. Every week we'd have a work to do. And I said, do your studying separately. Don't tell each other what the other one is thinking, because I want them to be individuals, not saying, oh, yeah, that's right, I'm going to put that on my list too. Yeah. So the one didn't know what the other was going to write about until we got together. And it was so interesting, though, because they were grieving together deeply. And sometimes one would say, I didn't know that. Something they hadn't talked about, something they hadn't shared together. There was times of tears, not just on the lady's part, on the man's part too. There was times of laughter. There was times of good memories. To be able to turn it around, and I know now they're doing something honoring their daughter. So to take something and turn it into something positive, something fruitful to come out of that situation. Yeah. Beautiful. They were a wonderful couple to work with.
That is great. That is great. Well, thank you, Pat.
So
so taking something and turning it into that positive. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks very much. We are just we are just about halfway into these, into some of these different stories that we are hearing from Pat. And we still have more to go. So stay tuned, because we're going to have the rest of the questions that will be asked by my wonderful co-host Vicky. But I'm all ears, because the stories, the experiences, the breakthroughs that we are hearing from Pat, even with regards to losses and grief. I mean, this is a conversation that could be had over and over and over. So Vicky, sorry, you wanted to say something.
One more thing too. Grief is not always just death.
Yes.
I mean, I've been through divorce. I understand, because all those hopes and dreams that you had for that marriage are gone. Or say you and a dear friend have a big argument. You've been friends for years. Are they going to tell my secrets? You might lose trust. Right. Some people might lose their faith in God. Why did God take my child? Right. Really a lot of different emotions in there.
Yeah. I like that. Pat, I really like that, because I'm saying that I like that because for all of the times that I've heard the word grief, most often I equate it with death.
Yes.
The death of a human person, the death of a pet, death. But when you even talk about even the divorce, sometimes my mind doesn't go that way to grief. But that is such a great learning. So, but thank you. We live and learn.
40 different kinds of grief. I know on my website, I've got a list of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So nice to hear from Pat. It's an eye opener. That's why I said you have to be here with us in the Change Makers Voices, because we are learning so much from you, Pat, and we will carry this. As Maima said, grief is not only about death. Grief is so many things that can happen to you. And my question, Pat, is, do you have a story of a client who not only overcame grief, but went on to achieve a dream or goal they thought was impossible before coaching with you?
It's interesting. I was on one of the Facebook grief groups, I guess. And I saw this gentleman make a post on there that he had lost his wife 5 months before that, and he couldn't quit crying. I knew this gentleman. We had gone to church together 40 years ago in another state. And I knew him and his wife very well. The phone number I had for him wasn't working, but I had his daughter's phone number. She had him call me. And he said, "Oh my gosh, I've been looking for a counselor, and you're a counselor." And we didn't go the 8-week course because that one you go a lot deeper. And I really think we have better results with that. But for his budget, I have another one that's just 4 weeks, and he could do that one. So at first, he really did cry a lot. And we talked about his crying, why he cried, what he could do differently. If you could take something negative out of your thoughts and replace it with something positive to turn that life around and be grateful for all the many years they had together and not dwell so much on just the loss.
Yeah.
And then one thing he did during that 4-week time too, he went and bought himself a dog, which his wife would not have wanted that. And he named the dog Sir John. That dog was more company to him because he didn't really go out that much. But that dog and him just bonded. It was a living life breathing animal.
That's great. That's great.
And to him, that was like having a new companion. Didn't replace her because no one can replace the person that we've lost.
Yeah.
But it added to his life. It made him laugh.
Wow.
And over that time period, once in a while he would still cry a little bit, but at the end of that, he asked a lady out for lunch. I was so he called me in the morning. He was so excited. He said, "I've got a date. Be a gentleman." He said, "Okay." And later on that afternoon, he called and he said, "It was great." He said, "You'd have been so proud of me. I pulled out her chair. I opened the car door and I didn't kiss her on the first date."
That is so sweet.
That is great. Wow, that's amazing.
Huge.
Beautiful.
Just to take that step, if we just take baby steps,
Yeah.
there's moving forward. And he's doing that.
Yeah.
He did that.
Doing
Pat,
that.
thanks to the dog too, because the dog was sort of like the bridge between his grief and going towards a new life, a new page in his life. What do you think? Right?
Exactly.
Amazing.
And I tell him too, and with him, I make memory bears from the clothing of people that have passed.
Yeah.
And with him, I started a new thing that when someone goes through a grief course with me, I will make them a free memory bear of their loved clothing. And I said, "Don't open it until you got me on the phone." Oh, it was awesome. It's a connection to the past, but he's not living in the past.
Yeah.
We have to move forward. And I tell him too, since he was also a friend too, call me. If you need to talk, just call me. I don't think that when we touch these people's lives, we don't just walk in and a set period, we walk out. I'm available for them, even in later. They want to call me a year later. That's fine too. I think when someone reaches out to you, you need to be available to them.
Definitely.
If I hadn't been through it, I wouldn't understand it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I really think that sometimes that's why we go through these trials, is so that we can help other people through it.
God always has his ways.
Oh, yes,
showing us.
Yes.
And here you are.
And there's a lesson in every situation.
Yeah.
But we can't always see it at the time. But remember, Steve Jobs said, you can connect the dots looking backwards, not forward. Grief is the same way. Definitely. You can look back and see, my husband on my last trip in our motorhome was such a fun trip. That was a gift before he passed. A couple of weeks before my brother got sick, he came and helped me work on my porch. That day was wonderful. That was a gift. And we have to sometimes look deeper for the gifts. They're there.
Yes.
That's great. That's great.
Amen. Amen to that. Pat, your work clearly comes from a place of deep empathy.
Yeah.
Was there a moment in your own life where you experienced loss? Of course, you did mention, and discovered some of the same tools you now teach your clients.
Yeah. Well, years ago, I had lost my grandmother. Yeah, as a child, you don't think that much of it. But back then, they didn't talk about it after the funeral. But when I lost my mom, I moved home to Nebraska to take care of her when she had a heart attack. And we didn't think we'd have her for long. But I was blessed with 18 years with her before she passed. And I learned a whole new person other than being a child growing up. But then losing her.
Yeah.
And then the next year, my brother, 9 days later, my husband, and next year, my sister, my aunt, my niece, stepdaughter. It was just so much. You felt like a revolving door. And I didn't have that soft place to fall. I didn't have the money to pay a therapist for years and years to keep coming back. But a fellow life coach was also doing the grief work, and she gave me the information where to go to take the training and get licensed for it. I had to go through the same program I take my clients through. It's like a cloud lifted. I understood the feelings that I was having. I was being very normal, and everybody moves at their own pace. Don't ever let anybody rush you through a grief. You have to pace yourself. But had I not been through that, I wouldn't be doing this work today.
Yeah.
So I think that was God's purpose. All my life, I've been in service of others. First as the hairdresser, the dressmaker, the coaching. And that's my calling, is to help other people, not just feel good, but to look good too in the dressmaking.
Yeah.
We want to look
Amen.
good. We want to feel good. But the whole point is we're doing it for other people. And I just think this world needs that right now more than ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
To help other people.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I totally agree, Pat.
But that
And
it was a turning point.
yeah.
That is
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm lost for words. Somehow I'm getting emotional about this because you turn the loss and the grief into growth. And this is where you come in, Pat. Everybody needs you because I can say that you are the best person to talk to somebody because of what you had been through. And so, how has your personal journey with grief shaped the way you connect with clients and the strategies you share with them?
Mm-hmm. I lost my son when he was 23 to suicide.
Oh.
And I spoke at the survivors of suicide more than once. Because so many times, something like that, you feel like nobody's going to understand. But when you can connect with other people that have gone through the same process, I mean, there was mothers that lost children, there was wives that lost husbands, kids that lost parents. That main common bond was the suicide. And to be able to help them, give them new hope. But when they hear it from someone that has walked that path, they know that you're not just reading that out of a textbook. You have lived that horror with them. And at times you think you're going to lose your mind. I can't do another one. I'm not a revolving door. But somewhere he gives you the strength to keep going. But I think it's key too to talk to the right people, because as much as family and friends want to help you, they love you, no doubt. But that's not always the best person. So many times you need a coach to help you. And I'm their bridge from where they were to where they want to be. And I hold their hand. I do understand. And I listen to them. Again, they need to be heard and not judged.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maima?
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So many great nuggets. So many great nuggets.
Thank you.
Even just saying, that person have that their own time. It doesn't have to be rushed.
Right.
Yes.
And how and how great it is to hear such a point.
Mhm.
Because someone like me, yes, maybe I'm guilty to say, look, this person, we have to show that they're trying, that they're not going on that path to depression and despair, you know. So could they listen to this music? Could they eat this type of food? Could they join this class? But
Mhm.
it's so good to hear that. Give them that time because yes.
Thank you.
And then you also mentioned at the end, even the at the end of the day, it's all about helping other people.
Yeah, it is.
Helping other people. Yeah.
Right.
There's so many ways that we can help other people. This is my gift.
Yes. But Pat, we thank you, for opening your heart and
Mhm.
sharing such powerful insights with us today. Okay? Your story is proof that even in our deepest pain, there is that potential for growing
Mhm.
Yeah.
and living and continuing to impact
Yeah.
as you are showing today with your stories and
Thank
with
you.
Right.
your presence.
And I
So,
want to tell you too that when people will say the wrong things,
Yeah.
like say you've lost a pet, they say, "Oh, you can get another pet."
yeah.
But you have a relationship with that animal, or say you lose a child. Well, at least you have two other children.
Yeah.
They're trying to be kind, but it's not the appropriate thing to say. It actually hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, you have other children. You don't need somebody to tell you that.
Mhm,
But I'm going to give you three magic words that you could say that's good in every situation.
mhm,
Okay. I can't imagine. Say you had lost your dog. I can't imagine how you must feel
Mm-hmm.
at losing your constant companion. He was always there for you. Or I can't imagine what it's like to go through a divorce. Yeah, but I can't imagine. You're
Mm.
not criticizing, you're not telling them what to do. And I've never seen a griever not accept that and feel not
mhm.
not pressured or not targeted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
imagine.
I
Yeah.
can't
You can use it in your
imagine.
everyday life too in many situations.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is,
Yeah.
yes. That
Yeah.
is, yeah.
It's true. I remember the Pat and Maima when my young son, the youngest son, 32 years old, he was run over by a car, and
Mm.
it's supposed to be mysterious accident.
Mm,
And people were saying, "Oh, each of you us have our turn. Tomorrow it might be your turn. The next day it might be my turn." I mean, do I want to listen to that?
No.
Right? And sometimes people are at a loss for words on what to say. Say, just say, "I'm here for you."
Yeah.
Maybe, right, Pat? Or
When
I
it,
can imagine how you feel. And Pat, I remember in our one of our conversations, you said something that struck me. You said that you were going to do something for your friend. What was that statement you said, Vicky? I told a friend or say something like you will do the household work for her.
oh
Can you
yes,
say
I know what
that,
you
Pat?
mean. Yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
That say if you had lost your husband, instead of saying, "Well, call me if I can help." They're grieving. They've already said they need help.
mm,
And don't say, "Well, I'll bring over a ham." That doesn't help their grief. Don't ask if you can help. Just say, "I'm going to come over Monday morning and I will help you clean the house.
mm,
I'm going to the grocery store. What can I get for you?" Make it a statement rather than a question or a request, because when their mind is in that stage of grief, they're confused. They really don't know. And that's pretty normal. I can remember a year after my husband died, and someone said she'd been at the funeral, and I said, "I don't mean to offend you, but I couldn't tell you who was at that funeral."
mm.
It's a time when your mind is just so bogged down and fogged, and here you're trying to think straight to make arrangements, and those little things that someone will just come in and help you do, or just come
Yeah.
show up you and say, "I've got some spare time. How about if I help you do this or that?"
That's true. I mean, it's so touching. I remember my husband passed away December 21, a few days before Christmas.
Hmm.
And of course, I was grieving. My friend, she sent me a turkey. And my children were hungry because of course nobody from us were eating. But when we saw that the roasted turkey with all the trimming, it
Yeah.
lighted our lives and said, "Oh my God,
Mhm.
I mean, it was so thoughtful of her just to send it like that with all
She
the
didn't ask
trimming."
if you needed it, did she?
You know, she
No.
just sent it, and there we were eating like because we haven't eaten for days, and
Yeah.
so that was
Yep.
really something that
Good.
I remembered, Pat,
Yeah.
and then she passed away a few months after. So
Oh,
that was the gift,
they,
Pat, that you were talking about.
I really
Before
believe.
they pass away, she gave me that gift. She gave me that, that love and concern, and
Mhm.
she sent me the turkey.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So,
That's
friends, if Pat's journey touched you, and I'm sure it did, like as much as it touched me and Maima, I encourage you to connect with her directly. She offers a free 1 hour conversations on her website and I'm going to post this in my social media, www.pat ackleyroth.com/conversation. I repeat, Pat, ackleyroth.com/conversation, plus her weekly reflections on Facebook called Pat's Ponderings on Life. Again, this will be posted on social media. Pat, it's been an honor having you as our guest on Changemakers Voices. Thank you. I know you're very busy, but thank you for making the time. And to
I,
our audience, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss more stories from incredible change makers around the world. And
amen.
until next time,
Thank
please keep using your voice to create change.
you.
Amen.
Maima,
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Yes. We say thanks because I don't have much more to say, for what Vicky just said, but to say thanks again to Pat. And I'm so tempted. I am tempted. The heart you have behind you, Pat,
Mhm.
what is it about before we close just quickly?
Well, it's got the ears,
Okay.
right? And the
Yeah.
one thing that I'm trained is that we listen with our heart when we talk to our clients.
Yeah.
You don't see a mouth on there.
yeah,
So listening with our heart is the key number one thing that I do in my coaching.
Mm.
So,
That-
and I keep that up there just, it's a good conversation thing, but it's got a lot of meaning behind it,
yeah.
a
true,
lot of meaning. And I
true,
lead with my heart.
Well, thank you.
true.
Thank you.
Leading
Thank
with a
you.
heart. Yes.
Yes,
Leading
yes,
with a heart. So you've listened, to this particular interview. You've listened to this incredible lady, talking about that at the end of the day that it is about helping other people. So you have this moment. I have this moment. What type of changes? What are the types of change makers that we are? We
yes.
have the opportunity now, even in the moments that are given us. Thank you again for being here. Thank you again,
And
Pat, and thank you, Vicky.
thank you.
Okay?
Here's a virtual hug for both of you,
Yeah.
Pat and
I
Maima.
always have another empty hug ready to go.
Oh, thank you. And goodbye, everyone. Thanks for
Bye.
watching.
Thank you.
Yes,
Bye.
thank you.